Hey, campfire crew, let's get it on.
Now it's time for the fun part.
I was suicidal and saw something that stopped me, by Michael X. Trigger warning, suicide. I've been sitting on this for a while. I haven't told anyone about it because it sounds fucking crazy, but it's stuck with me for months and I need to get it out. If anyone else has experienced something like this in Texas, especially Central Texas, I'd really like to hear about it. Way back in September, I was going through severe depression and was very suicidal. I came up with a plan to kill myself, which was to jump off of a water tower. When the time came, I snuck out of the house around 1 a.m. and began the 25 to 30-minute walk to the tower. Now, my original plan was to climb the water tower, but when I got there, I noticed a radio tower pretty close by and thought, yeah, that'll kill me for sure. To get to the tower, I would have to cross this field with an abandoned building off to the side. It looked like it was made out of shipping containers. I wasn't really focused on the building, just heading toward the tower. But that's when I saw something that made me stop dead in my tracks. On the far side of the building, something was peeking around the corner. Just the upper half of its body. I only saw it for a split second, but it was tall, at least 8 feet tall, completely white and not shaped like any animal I'd ever seen before. And it was fast. As soon as it realized I'd noticed it, it turned and bolted. I mean, the speed it moved with wasn't normal. It was almost like it wasn't bound by the same laws of physics we are. Like, it was too big to be that fast and too smooth in the way it moved. It was just too uncanny. Now, I just want to clarify to everyone that I have never been much of a spiritual or religious person, up until that point. I've always followed logic and reasoning, so when I saw that creature, I immediately began thinking of reasonable explanations. At first I thought, was that a cow? Because I did hear mooing in the fields. So I assumed that what I had seen was a cow. But when I got far enough to see the area around the building, I saw that all the cows were fenced in and far away. There was nothing else around. And I mean, there's no way a cow could stand on its legs like that and move at the speed that thing did. What really messed me up wasn't just the sight of it. It was how I felt. The wave of dread that hit me was overwhelming. I mean, not like normal fear. It felt primal, like something inside me knew I had to get out of there immediately. And here's the weirdest part. I went there planning to die. But after seeing that thing, I didn't want to die anymore. I was absolutely fucking terrified. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life, and I don't have any history of hallucinations, and I wasn't under the influence of any drugs. But what I saw was absolutely real. I'm not saying it was paranormal. I don't know. But it was real enough that it made me turn around and leave when I thought I was ready to die. If anyone else has seen anything like this, especially near towers or isolated areas in Texas, let me know. Frying Pan into the Fire, submitted by Hadron. Short and not so sweet. I hope this story's long enough for you. Back in 1999, I was working for a company with some offices in sunny Detroit, Michigan. I grew up and lived in a town called Rochester, New York, and obviously nowhere near Detroit. And while I had heard that Detroit was not a great city, I still had to go. My company's main office was there with little branches and partner offices in and around the city. They put me up in an okay hotel, nothing fancy. But back then, I was all about fitness. I ran and cycled a ton. On these business trips, I couldn't take my bike, so I mostly just ran. The hotel I was staying at had a gym, but it was shut down for remodeling, and they gave me a voucher for a gym not too far away. It was late when I checked in, and I had to be at meetings by 9 the next morning. And I figured I'll just go for a run in the early AM rather than have to drive around to try to find this gym. Anyone who's been to Detroit or lives there is right now probably saying, dude, what were you thinking? Going for a run in the morning in Detroit? Well, there I was at 5:30, hitting the street for that run. I started down the main drag my hotel was on and memorized larger cross streets so I could navigate my way back. And for a while things were great, everything was smooth. I saw some signs for a park and I figured I could zip through there and then make a big loop through a neighborhood and come back to the main drag. Well, I wish someone had told me where I was. As I made my way down through these neighborhood streets, I realized I was not only out of my element, I was in over my head. Nearly every other house was boarded up, yards overgrown, and sometimes it would be 3 or 5 houses in a row that were like that. Every so often there'd be a tidy yard or a cluster of them, but it was obviously a place that had seen better days. And if it means anything to anyone, I found out later that this area is the Brightmoor neighborhood. Anyway, as I was running, I saw a group of guys sitting on the front steps of a place that looked boarded up, and one of them yelled out, "Hey!" Yeah, hey to me. There was no one else out there. I kind of waved but didn't stop, and right as I was passing them, they got up. I kept going, and then I heard them yell, "Hey, man, come here, slow the fuck down!" I did a side glance over my shoulder and saw that 3 of them were trotting across the front lawns and into the street behind me. They kept calling out, "Hey, motherfucker, I said slow down, get your ass over here!" It finally dawned on me that, number 1, I did not belong in this neighborhood, and number 2, I was about to get my ass kicked, robbed, or both. After more yelling, and now I could hear their running steps on the blacktop, I took off faster. And there was more yelling, and then a gunshot. I nearly pissed myself. I was scared shitless. I lost all sense of direction. I had no idea where I was going. I was just trying to get away from these guys. I cut across a corner lot onto another street, and these guys kept running after me. "Get back here, motherfucker!" Then I heard a voice yell out, "Get his shoes! Get his shoes!" And another, "We'll kill you, motherfucker!" A few houses down, I was terrified. I had no idea where I was, and I thought, honestly, I was going to die. Then this car came screaming up from behind me, and now I really knew I was done for. It blasted up on my side, and I looked at a guy in the passenger seat who yelled, "Yo, dumbass, get in!" The driver slowed down, and for some reason, I said a quick prayer, looked back at the guys chasing me, and got in. I never once thought that I could get killed by these guys in the car, but I knew what was about to happen if I didn't. So the car took off, another shot rang out over the loud exhaust on the car, and then I looked up. "You fucking crazy, man?" said the driver. "You gotta be crazy. Those guys would have killed you just for your sneakers, man." I looked at both him and the passenger. 2 black dudes with long dreads and winter caps on with the Tigers logo. I could see the driver had a gun in his lap, and the passenger turned around on me, and I for sure saw his gun in his hand. "What the hell are you doing out here, bro?" I finally stammered out I was just going for a run, and the passenger guy shook his head and laughed. "Damn, man, you ain't from here, are you? You're in the belly of the beast, bro." I finally noticed the car reeked of weed, and then I saw some duffel bags next to me on the back seat. I wasn't naive of what was going on, but I really wasn't sure about the powdery substance in those duffel bags. But I wasn't too stupid to know that these guys were clearly drug dealers. Then the driver said, "Shit, man, you almost got fucked up. Lucky I'm in a good mood. Where are you supposed to be?" I told them what hotel I was in, and the driver said he was going to drop me off in the park nearby, and I could get back safe from there. Everything felt like a dream, like it wasn't really happening. We pulled into this parking lot in the park, and the car stopped. The passenger shook his head. Dude, get your fitness someplace else, bro. Now get your ass out of here. I got out and managed to say thanks, guys, and the guy just grinned this big smile showing his gold teeth. You got lucky today, motherfucker. You got lucky we came by. Then he turned to the driver. Motherfucker's gonna get himself killed over some shoes, bro. Then the car took off with a roar, and I was left near a big intersection. I recognized the main road and hauled ass back to my hotel, sweating and still jacked to the bejesus. The adrenaline took a long time to subside. I called my boss and told him what had happened, and he said he was going to come and get me, to take it easy and to try to calm down. When I met with him later, he apologized for not telling me to avoid that area, and then actually had me stay at his family home for the next 2 days that I was there. So yeah, it all ended okay, but for a few minutes it was out of the frying pan and into the fire. To this day, I thank those two guys, drug dealers of all people, that found it in their hearts to stop and get me out of there. Hands down, the scariest thing that ever happened to me, in a time I really thought I was going to die. I haven't been back to Detroit since, and I don't plan on going anytime soon. Unforgettable Night Driving by Toasty Avo. I wanted to share a surreal experience I had while driving my usual route from Klamath Falls, Oregon to Eureka, California. For about 2 years, I've taken US 97 multiple times a week, passing the stunning Mount Shasta. One night towards the end of 2024, I was on CR 812, heading back to US 97 around 9 or 10 p.m. It was a clear night, and as I was driving maybe just 5 miles an hour over the limit, I found myself gazing up at the beautiful stars. That's when I spotted 3 lights in a perfect triangle formation. They were completely still, no movement whatsoever. As I continued to drive, I watched in awe as the lights remained stationary, but within about 30 seconds I noticed a shape start to form around them. And suddenly, out of nowhere, the shape took off at an unbelievable speed, heading directly toward Mount Shasta. If you blinked, you would have missed it. By the time I passed a few tall trees and looked back, it was gone. I've never seen anything like it, and it's a moment I'll never forget. Interestingly, while driving past Mount Shasta, I often feel a mix of emotions. Sometimes it's calming, and other times I get this eerie feeling that makes me want to get away as fast as possible. It's truly indescribable. Has anyone else had similar experiences in Southern Oregon or around that area? I'd love to hear your stories. Strange Encounter in the Woods by Due Weather. I live near a patch of woods, not far from a few camping sites. There's an old basketball court close by, a stone floor, 2 rusty hoops that barely stay up. It's pretty busted, but it's still our go-to spot when my friends and I want to hang out. This happened on a warm day last summer. We headed out to play some basketball, mess around, and just chill. Everything was normal at first, just us fucking around. And then we heard barking. It wasn't loud at first, but it felt off. Like the pitch kept changing. Sometimes it sounded close, and sometimes super far away, almost like it was moving around fast. My friend shrugged it off as some dog from one of the campsites nearby, and I didn't say much. I didn't want to seem weird for being creeped out by a dog. We kept playing. About 10 minutes later, I missed a shot pretty bad, and the ball bounced off deep into the woods. Of course, my friends made me go grab it since I was the one who messed up. And as I walked towards it, something felt off. I couldn't explain why, I just had that tight feeling in my gut, like I shouldn't be there. The barking kicked in again, this time louder, like it was really close. Still, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I kept going. I bent down to pick up the ball, and that's when it hit me. This sharp pain in my palm out of nowhere, almost like my body was screaming at me to get out. I grabbed the ball and ran back, hand throbbing like crazy. I told my friends I was done for the day, that my hand hurt too much to play. And they asked what happened, but I just said I didn't know. They kept playing, and I sat off to the side, trying to chill out, hoping the pain would go away. After a while, the barking stopped, and things went quiet. That's when I realized I had to pee, like really bad. I asked if they wanted to go home yet, but my friends all said no, they were still having fun. So I walked behind the court deeper into the woods where they couldn't see me and relieved myself. That's when things got creepy again. I felt like someone was watching me. Not just nearby, like right there, like behind a tree or something. And it was quiet. Too quiet. Then, as I started walking back, the barking started again. This time it was loud, and it honestly felt like it was right behind me. And my hands started hurting again, even worse than before. I ran back and told my friends I had to leave and made up some excuse about needing to help my mom. And as I got farther from the woods, everything started to feel normal again. The pain in my hand faded, and the barking stopped. I never really talked about it. I figured no one would believe me or they'd just laugh it off. But something happened that day, and it still messes with me a little. I don't know what it was, but something out there, my best guess is a skinwalker. Hey gang, thanks for listening to this episode. If you have a true scary story of any nature you'd like me to narrate, email it to unclejosh.truescarystories@gmail.com. I read them all. If you'd like to take your support of this channel a bit further, find a link to my Patreon page in the description, or get yourself some Uncle Josh and Campfire Crew merchandise. There's a link to my TeePublic page in the description as well. Everyone, be excellent to each other. And until next time, be wary of things that go bump in the night. It could be anything. A ghost, a monster, or the guy next door.